Hello, beautiful. Welcome.
Hello.
So this is something new that we're trying right now. And this is interesting that you're actually the first person who I'm doing this session with. So this is quite a special moment. So thank you very much, of course, for uh, allowing yourself to come through in this unusual way. And I can right away tell you that just with this intention of opening yourself and stepping into the vulnerable self that you are in, you're also opening the door to the amazing blessings that come on the other side of when you open your heart and surrender. And the fact that you are doing this not just for you, even though you are totally doing this for you, and I want you to think this way, but by allowing this to be heard potentially by others and bringing that transformational insight just by being who you are is so valuable. And it's just how we inspire each other in this sort of network of light. So thank you from that perspective.
Thank you.
And just allow yourself to receive everything that is available for you and will be unfolding for you on days and weeks and months and years after this session.
Okay.
So, as we set that great intention, I would like to invite you to share, why are you here? What are you looking to bring the transformation in, maybe a shift in perspective? But you can start from like a little bit of a bigger picture and then go more into what is today that you want to bring into change.
So I have my own business, and through my business, I've had a lot of ups and downs, and it's been hard for me to always appreciate when there's an up and when there's the low ends, and see that all lows are going to end up coming back up to a high at some point. And with that, I feel like that's also brought me into a place of being more in a masculine state and not being appreciative of where I can be in my feminine state. However, that's also transpired into, like, I feel like on a relationship wise basis, because I'm constantly staying in this particular state that I need to find a way to transition back to embracing my feminine more.
Mm-hmm. And when you say that particular state, can you describe that state a little bit more that you're staying in?
Overworked, not just overworked, but always sticking to numbers rather than looking at the abundance of sharing and helping others. It's always like, okay, well, did we meet the numbers for this month? And that rhetoric. And that's not my goal. Like, yes, that is a beautiful goal. However, I want to have the abundance of sharing and helping more. And I feel like that's being overpowered by the whole entire overworking, sticking to the numbers, sticking to a schedule, and not being, not allowing myself to flow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And when you're not allowing yourself to flow, then is a result of this?
Burnout,
Mm-hmm.
heavily burned out, where I step away for a week, maybe 2 weeks, in order to try and recuperate. And then I notice that I do the same cycle. Maybe it's elongated, but the same cycle occurs. And I don't feel like I'm being as beneficial for others when that happens.
Mm-hmm. So let me say what I heard, and you may correct me. So when you step out of that sort of like kind of business side, right? When you feel like, okay, I've burned out, I need to pause, I need to get back to my feminine. And then you take a little break, a week, two, which is quite brave already when you're running a business, right? But then when you go back into your business, you go back from that sort of like, again, perspective, overly focused on numbers, losing the flow.
Yes. It gradually happens.
I see. And how long does it usually take? Like, what's that gradually? How long in the period?
It can take like 2 weeks, and then it could take a month.
Okay. And what would you feel would be a beautiful shift that you could create right now? What are you ready to call in for the end of the session?
Trusting and having that security, not having security, but having that comfort of trust with the divine timing and knowing that abundance is going to flow. I don't need to work as strategically as I had been trying to, rather than allow pieces to flow through and know that abundance is coming with it.
So if I'm hearing it right, you would feel that today's session has been positive for you if you felt that you discovered this new sense of trust and security, the inner security that I'm taken care of, I'm well, there is a support system, that something is sort of like, I'm not alone here, that yes, I am provided, and that my needs are met. There's all of this kind of like safety issues that of course all of us we have, we go through, and that it's sort of like inherent from within versus from you doing action that creates that safety.
Yes.
Okay, beautiful intention, very powerful, and so it is. And the way how it's going to flow right now is, as we set the intention, we may kind of go on some tangents, we may discover some things, and everything will come into place at the end. Okay. So the first thing, of course, when I hear you saying those things about the sense of trust and sense of inner safety and security, right away it brings me to, think of the relationship with our mother, because that's the figure with whom we develop that sense, ideally. Or I could better say that mother is the figure with whom we develop our understanding of the world. Can I feel safe in this world? Can I trust the world? What the world thinks about me? Do I have place in the world? All of those aspects are developed with the mother. Not only those, there are other, but these ones are. So, and of course, logically, the question would be, how are you doing in that department? And do you feel that some of those patterns that right now you are noticing, but do not see that there is an exit, right? You're not seeing yourself of how to come out of it. Do you see that those patterns are similar to maybe something that your mother used to kind of be an example of?
So I come from a mom that was a single mother before she eventually met my father. And so her mindset has always been, be the breadwinner, be the person to come forward, be the person to like make sure everything is in order, because that's what she had to do with herself and her son. That kind of transpired into how my parents' relationship worked as well. My dad is the breadwinner. However, my mom was the one that was always the one on top of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then that has also transpired into where my current parenting state is. As a single mom, I noticed that I take on those same exact roles and stay in that mindset sometimes. Like, okay, I'm the one providing, I'm the one doing this.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it definitely does come from there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And do you know your history of, people who came before your mom, like her mother?
Yes.
Do you know how would you like to share, like what kind of the dynamic was within the family and just in general, what kind of life circumstances was your grandmother, maternal grandmother?
So my maternal grandmother, she was originally from Colombia. So in Colombia, she held the role of taking care of her father during the time that they were living there, cooking for him, cleaning for him, because he was I want to say he worked in the coffee bean industry. So he was a laborer. So my grandmother did that. And then when she came to the US, um, she was married for 25 years before her and my grandfather ended up splitting. But
Mm-hmm.
she was always the homemaker in the house.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But a lot of decisions were also based on her. She may have not been the provider with monetary contributions. However, she was the decision maker in the family.
Mm-hmm. 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 So what we're seeing is that this pattern that you notice in yourself is showing up in your business. It is also very much of a pattern of the dynamic between, like within the family, between the two partners,
Mm-hmm.
where the feminine is kind of taken, for her, it is hard to trust and hard to surrender into the hands of a, masculine, say, where
Mm-hmm.
she doesn't feel fully supported and that she needs to have a little bit of sort of like control, right?
Yes.
As long as she guides him on what to do and where to do things, then she's able to, kind of feel safe, but only through her that happens. This is a big, big theme, of course. There's maybe other things too, but there's this sort of like a pattern of not trusting the masculine.
Mm-hmm.
And in that, being that masculine. And then when you are being that masculine, then of course you are burning yourself and going out of what is naturally yours, the flow. And I do
Yes.
want to mention just a couple of things about your numerology. You have lots of threes, right? You have three. So three is the number of the feminine,
Mm-hmm.
is the number of the Empress. And the Empress is that sort of figure, that sort of archetype that is so natural to you. And it is also the one that is connecting you to the divine. So all of the kind of divine blessings are flowing to you the more you are in your feminine.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're not in your feminine, in that Empress state, which I will describe a little bit more of, like how does it look, what does it feel like, then you are almost like drying out your resources, and it can lead to depression and complete powerlessness, right? Because for how long can you be like trying to hustle things until you feel like completely exhausted your resources, because the resource is not coming directly from the source?
Yeah, that resonates.
Yeah, so that's a big part of your life path. and mastering that energy, mastering the Empress energy, which is, so the Empress, right? The kind of classic energy of Empress is, that is fertile. She is the garden of life. She is the fountain of life. Life is birthed through her. Everywhere she steps, metaphorically, we could say, like, things become golden. Just her touch make things come into life because of that fertile energy that she carries. And that energy comes very strongly from the divine, her kind of sitting on the throne of the divine, that she knows she's a divine daughter of God or whatever, of goddess, right? And that she's just naturally inheriting this worth, this value, that who she is, and it's so big, and that helps her to relax into the present moment because she knows that support of the divine is always there. And there are other things, the things that take her out of that, Empress in the negative could be that overly controlling, the one that is managing everybody and not allowing them to kind of have this sort of like free flow of work, being too much into, very detail oriented and not allowing things to go without her oversight, etc., right? And that takes her out and that dries the resource. So I'm bringing this up for you just so that you have this perspective onto your life, that this is something that is about your life path. And it is about mastering this energy. So it's okay that sometimes you fall out, as long as you know what the North Star is, where kind of to go to, right? Now, what if you drop into your body right now? Because a lot of my work that I do is very much about the embodiment. And if you're talking about the feminine, and that's what you need to, right? That's what you came here with as your request. It's a lot about your body. So when you talk about this lack of, sense of trust, etc., where are you feeling it in your body? What sensations?
I feel it a lot within my head.
Okay. And how does it present itself?
It's like overthinking.
Overthinking.
It's like,
okay.
it could feel like a headache, but it's like the gears are constantly shifting, constantly turning. And it's like if I fall asleep, maybe it'll just shut off for a little bit. And then the other place I feel it is my core. I carry a lot of stress within that area.
Where in your core? Is there a more specific place? Okay, like around solar plexus,
like
kind
the
of up diaphragm.
like right under the diaphragm area.
Definitely. So you're very body aware, and you're also very, you have a very strong feminine to begin with. So I will be talking to you, from those terms. What do you think you need to help elevate that kind of heaviness in your head that you experience, this constant movement?
That is a good question because I'm not really sure.
So right now, let's close your eyes. And I'll close my eyes with you. And you bring a deep inhale into your heart and all the way down into your lower belly, relaxing your lower belly. Feeling your seat connected. Very grounded in your seat. Your spine is straight and you feel the energy moving, keeping the inhales and exhales strongly in and out. And bringing more and more of your awareness into the body. How does my body feel right now? Through your emotions, through the sensations. Now, with this refocusing on the body, I'm going to ask the question again. And you stay present to the sensations in the body, to the energy flowing. And when I speak to you, just notice what rises up without logically analyzing it. Just say what it is, right? So, my question to you, what do you think? What do you feel? What does your body tell you would be beneficial for you to do to help the heaviness be eased off from your head and to be less scattered and more grounded, more trusting, more inflow?
So what comes up is hands, like being held,
Mm-hmm.
finding either a space to be held in or just being comforted along the journey. I'm not really sure.
Stability before your body. It's like you have that duty because you have the awareness to make that happen. But again, not from a place of control, but from a place of allowing it to come to you. You know all of those spiritual truths. And it seems like there is a disconnect between that and your body. And your body needs to believe that your your conscious, kind of like your spiritual self knows.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because the body is like, whoa, 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 wait. Like, I'm in survival over here. And when your nervous system is super activated and when it's in that sort of survival mode, it's really hard for it to listen to something like feels like death. Right? So first and foremost, we need to activate the parasympathetic nervous system, right? Help to soothe, to nurture the nervous system. And holding, right? Having somebody to hold you is like so healing, is super healing. What would be some other things that you could do meanwhile that can also help you to soothe your nervous system, to bring you a little bit more into your body, into the state of groundness and centeredness?
A lot of smoke comes up.
Smoke?
Yeah, a lot
What's
of
that?
smoke. So it looks like essential oils are
Mm-hmm.
coming through. Like incorporating them more into my life rather than just staying with like the incenses only.
Yeah. When the quality is really high and when it's really pure, you're connecting to the spirit of the plant, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in each drop, there's so much of that plant. And it is a meditative experience that completely can transfer your state. And with this oils, as you start to discover them for yourself, maybe even intuitively, you can see which oil you need right now. And some of them would be more of like clearing your mind, others would be more of grounding you to the earth. Now, all of those things are going into your toolkit. All of the things that your body is telling you, bring more of. Is there anything else that's kind of coming through?
My daughter.
What about her?
Um, Reconnecting with her a little bit more.
What would that look like?
Stopping working and sitting down with her to watch a movie, read a book, but not just sitting down with her, but actually like holding her, cuddling with her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She's always, she knows that mommy's always working, mommy's always working. So she just kind of sits there and watches. But there's that part of me that's like, I really need to reconnect with her.
Yeah. And there's something that you said, something that's really important earlier. I heard you saying that you're not sure how effective your actions are with work. So she knows mommy is always working and she respects that, right? And she kind of like, you know, she lets you do that. But maybe all of that work or much of it is almost like a waste of time, waste of resource, waste of energy, waste of precious time that you could have given her.
Yeah.
Is there some sort of, what's that? What, is there some sort of fear of being present with your child?
It's
A
just us two.
discomfort?
It's just us two. So if there's the fear of like, okay, if I don't bring in this amount of money for the month, then no one's there to help us.
Yeah. Is that a true belief?
For the most part.
What does it mean? For the most part?
Financially wise, if it's just me. So I need to be able to support her. I need to be able to support myself, clear out bills and loans that happened before her. But there's also the truth that my parents are able to help in watching her.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like, for the most part, I'm by myself, but there's also somewhat of a support system when it's available.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what's coming up right now is this other aspect of the feminine is community. And the Empress, right? She has a strong community, a strong network where even if it's her business or her team, the people are cooperating together, right? She's not over like looking. She's like very much trusting and everybody is bringing in their gifts. And also cooperation within a community of just, you know, your community, knowing, right, before in the past, we had a community. We had that support. We knew a mother is not alone. And it's quite tragic. And I know this is the case right now for so many of us, so many of mothers. And it's a big, you know, manifested sort of like issue overall for the humanity, that sort of like single motherhood and this feeling like I'm completely alone, there's nobody else. And I feel like there's a big part to just like acknowledge how bad we got as a humanity. And where did this all come from? Like, how come we're here right now? That one mother is saying she has nobody else. Everything is on her completely. And it's not even about like the father is not there. It's like, where's the community? And most importantly, what in your belief system that is not allowing the support? A belief system that has developed that I am all alone and this is all on me. And that if something, like if it's not me, then nobody. My life and my daughter's life depends on me solely. There's no community. Where's that?
It comes back to trust.
The trust, the mind would be like, why would I trust? I don't have a proof of it. Right? That's how mind works. It's like, prove it to me, then I'll trust you. Can we show the mind somehow, find some ways to show that this belief is not true? Period. This belief is not true. If you were not able to meet your numbers this month, let's try to play out the worst case scenario. Because I do feel that oftentimes the mind creates it more, difficult.
If numbers were not met at the end of the month, it would mean that I would have to figure out a way to create more hours in my job, or I don't like to borrow from people, to see if I would be able to borrow in order to meet the deadlines and then refill, like replay them and all that.
Yeah. What if you couldn't have more hours or borrow the money? And be very mindful with the body, allowing the body to breathe through that. Because let me pause you over here. The exercise that we're doing right now is really important for your nervous system. As you walk into the scariest fears that you have, your body is actually processing that fear, because somewhere on a cellular level, that used to be true in the past. This reality is still true for your body. So that's why you are right now safe and protected, but we are working with these scenarios. Allow those scenarios to play out as if they were real. And that is healing, and that is helping your body to purify from these programs, okay? Okay, now as I gave you a little bit of this kind of background story, let's go back.
I'd be calculating a lot of numbers constantly, seeing where I can pay a little bit more here, making phone calls to see what I can do as a payment plan in other regards. Also, because I have done this, I've chosen to starve myself in order to make sure that she's fed. So like a lot of the energy areas that I feel are within the crown, within not fully the crown, but within the third eye, and then my heart.
So because I know that you understand this sort of like, we have like a common spiritual background, so I will be kind of sharing with you what's coming in, while understanding the physical component of, right, and totally understanding the challenges of single motherhood, and that like how hard it is to be in that position, and how much it activates the fight or flight. It almost feels like it's just like a very heavy program over you that is not allowing your daughter to experience the abundance. The mind is blocking the abundance to flow through you to her. The way how it works on the lineage level, right? It's always from the elder to the younger. So the energy is meant to flow through you to her, and through you from your ancestors to her. So when you say it's only me, it feels like you're blocking the energy from your ancestors, from your lineage, to support her, because she is their responsibility.
Mhm.
And she is their future. They are invested in her. Are you in the way? Is there something that is sort of like closure somewhere in you that is not allowing the resource to flow through her? What is present for you in the body?
It's something I've been working on for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
And it is acceptance of being enough.
Mm.
Because I had felt like I was always not good enough or not enough.
Mm-hmm.
And I always had to prove my worth because I was always disregarded.
Mm-hmm. When you are not enough, can you give enough?
No, I can't. And I shut down.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you can't give to your daughter what you don't have. And it maybe is even a little bit easier to do what you know, which is hustling and calculating your numbers. Trying to make your ends meet, because so far you've been quite good at it. You have to control a lot. You have to like burn a lot of fires all the time, but you've learned your way. You at least that this is your safety, because you know, as much as it is not bringing you like super amazing expansion results, it is still keeping you safe, and it's a known path, and that's what the mind is choosing, which is totally makes sense. Right? Going back to that place, because it does feel like there's this sort of resource of something holding you back from your daughter. So you're choosing more of that sort of like masculine, like that's how I show my love, by providing for you, versus I'm just curious to know you. Who are you? What do you like? What do you want me to do for you right now? What are you playing with? What are you discovering right now? Getting involved in her life. But to be involved in her life, you need to have a resource, right? You need to have that energy. And if you don't have it, you can't give it to her. And that's sort of like that feminine flow. It seems like she's your remedy in many ways.
She is.
And your guide. You know, you're focused on her, but you're focused from a different perspective, remotely, right? Like what else I can do in order to make her life better? How I can sacrifice to make her life better? What if her life was made better if you didn't sacrifice, but you were actually filling yourself up? How is that idea fitting into your life, sort of the matrix that you're in? Does it seem like a plausible idea?
It is a plausible idea. It's letting go of control of a lot of things.
Mm-hmm. What if you didn't let go of control all of a sudden, everywhere, like quit cold turkey? Instead, brought in a little bit more of that closure, connectedness, tactile experience with your daughter, and that awareness with her. So, say, I don't know, say you usually go for like 8 hours straight, like mommy's working, no breaks, to say every period of time you set it for yourself, right? Something that is not overly too much, that feels too much at the beginning, but say every 2 hours I would take a break and I would spend like 10 minutes, 15, 30 minutes with her. What if you brought something like this? Because we don't want to scare, like we don't want to scare the inner child in you who is threatened for her survival either, by just being like, trust. Trust. I told you trust. So how can you start bringing more of the balance? Not letting go, but bringing in more of what feels delicious and nourishing.
One of it would be going back to community, which is seeing where my parents can possibly help a little bit more, or creating a schedule of when I know they're readily available to help me. So that's a little bit less ease, or a little bit more ease, a little bit less stress. And then it's something I've been slowly incorporating, but it's like, okay, mommy has 30 minutes before she has to go do something else. She's like, okay, I either want to read a book or I want to try and watch this show with you. And like, she's made those her time frames. She grabs her blanket, she grabs whatever snack she wants to eat. Oh my goodness.
I feel that too. It's okay. Let it out. Let it out. It's beautiful. Let it out. We're opening a big resource.
And then like just reminding myself to turn off my phone for those 30 minutes to just like really be connected to her and like, okay, cool. We're here. I get to hold you, hug you before you're too big for me. And like don't want my hugs anymore.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. How does it feel for you when you speak about this? What does your body tell you?
It's okay with it, because I've always been in the fight or flight feeling. I think the only time that I didn't really feel that way was during the pandemic, like during that short span of time that I was at home.
Seems like a blessing for you.
It was.
Is there any sort of blockage that you still feel that prevents you from receiving help from your parents? Especially help with your daughter, but also with you, with your life.
The blockage is not feeling enough. Because to them, I should be further along. And so since I'm not further along where their supposed desire for me would be, they question a lot of things that I do.
as far as your path, whether you've chosen the right path, whether this. Mm-hmm. And they have expressed that? Have they expressed that, like, you should be doing something better with your life?
Yep.
And how do you feel you can nourish this sort of feeling of lack of, I'm lacking something, I'm not enough?
That I'm not sure.
Right now you answered from your head, which I totally understand. Let's close our eyes and connect to the body again. Open your chest right now, because I look, notice your posture right now. Right? Closed off little girl, I don't know. You're the divine being. You know the spiritual truth that everything will be provided for you if you're in alignment. When you allow that spiritual truth sinking into your body and sense the alignment with your soul, with your higher self, and also with spirit, with the great divine, allowing that energy flow to you. How does your body feel? How's it reacting? What's showing up?
My solar plexus.
Yeah.
It shows up, and it says like it's a reminder you're your own person. Because I tend to compare myself to my siblings, even though we are all on our own paths.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me acknowledge that to walk the path that you're walking is an alternative path, right? It's not a mainstream path that you're choosing for yourself, and it requires a lot of strength. A lot of strength, you know that. So allow your solar plexus to receive that you're freaking doing a lot to just even withhold from, all of this kind of external influences, and to stay in your core, to stay in your center, and to keep choosing your path, to keep choosing what you feel from inside is right for you. That is huge. It requires a lot of power and a lot of clarity about who you are and a lot of connection to your divine path.
Yeah.
So allow yourself, right now you understand that on a mental level, but I really am inviting you to open your solar plexus and really breathe through the solar plexus in and out. And I feel a lot of energy is being cleared and it's being healed, and I feel that it's also going through my body. Allow to receive through the solar plexus that, and also allow to give that energy. I am a badass. Even if you compare yourself to others, you're a badass. If you look from this perspective, you are creating your own structure, your own reality. It's much more difficult than, going and working on for somebody. Requires a great level of discipline too. Like really feel that, fire in your belly, and feel it from inside. That flame of your solar plexus fire is getting stronger from inside, and feel the light entering into the dark places of your solar plexus, where there is still yes but, but this is not enough. No, it's okay, but that's not that important. All of those little buts that you may have when you claim that you are badass. Allow the truth to be felt in your body. And I'm inviting you right now to claim it, to speak it in your own words, because I used my words. You may choose some other words.
So what comes through is I am worthy.
Mm-hmm. I'm bringing your attention to your body posture, not just your body posture, right? So I will say your hands go in between your legs, your chest closed up, and you're going into like rubbing your feet, your legs, sort of like a little goat posture, right? Versus the Empress posture, the Queen posture. Feel yourself, you're sitting on the throne. What would your posture be? Your neck, your shoulders, your chest. So from this place of new posture, what's coming up?
So my third eye travels a lot to my solar plexus.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like all the tension that I carry in my head
Mm-hmm.
is seeping down into my solar plexus, but not painfully, just like releasing. Like my thoughts are worthy and they fulfill me.
What are those thoughts?
The community I look for and how I want to bring it about. Like those thoughts do have weight and they are worthy. They're not just there as pointless dreams.
How is your solar plexus feeling right now?
Like water.
Is there any more stiffness?
A little of am I lovable? Of like, if I give, can I be loved still?
If you give what?
If I give everything that I have to offer, will that love like travel back to me at some point and fill me?
What if
But
it
yeah,
doesn't? Can you have enough love for yourself? There is no certainty. And there is certainty. If you can give that love to yourself, there is certainty.
it's knowing when to step back in order to love myself and like fill up who I am first. Or not allowing it to be depleted to the point that it feels drained.
Where does it feel right now in your body? What's activated? You have. There's grief. Who am I? Who am I? I want to discover that. Who am I beyond the ancestral programming, beyond the patterns of behavior that I've developed? Who am I as a woman, as a sensual being? How is my love translated into the world? How does my love feel? Discovering your own love, being that mother to yourself. Giving yourself those 30-20 minutes of time regularly throughout the day of being in your own embrace. What's present for you?
I don't connect with myself enough. I don't appreciate myself enough throughout the day.
Yeah. And you know it. When you don't appreciate yourself, you don't hold that frequency of appreciation, and you cannot experience a match. So your products, your services are underappreciated or not noticed, not recognized. For the feminine, for a woman, her state is the most important. When she's in a state of survival, all doors are closed. When she's in a state of thriving and flow, she's magnetic. And self-love, of course, right?
Yes.
So this is where you simply doing your numbers is a waste of time, is a waste of resource. And if it would, for some, it's not. But you have that side developed very strongly, which is really important. All of us need to have a strong masculine and a strong feminine and have those two, right? But now we need to balance it with the two. So for you, if by doing more of that is not bringing more results and you keep staying kind of on the same level, right? That means it's just not on your soul path to be in that state. Your soul wants to experience a different state and mature through a different state. And as you do, then the doors will start opening. So now if we bring it all, everything that we've discussed today, that we went through today, what would be a few things that you are committing to, you're taking with you, with an understanding that the practice, what makes a difference?
Appreciate myself and appreciate who I am daily.
I will ask you here a little bit more concrete. How would that look like?
So for that, it's closing off my working mind to like actually say, you know what? Did I read because I wanted to today? Did I sit with myself? Did I light up my candles for me today? Not because, okay, this is a routine, but because it felt like something I wanted to do. Acknowledging, instead of just saying a prayer and saying, I'm thankful for this, but like actually acknowledging and being thankful for what my humanly experience of a body was able to provide for me, as well as what my soul and spirit have been able to guide me through for the day.
Yeah. So much what I'm hearing is embodiment. Again, you have so much spiritual understanding, and embodiment is bringing that spiritual understanding and making a part of your physical being.
Yes. With that, connecting with my daughter and really just reminding myself that as much as I'm her mom, I'm here to guide her. And she's also the medicine that was brought to me in my life. And to just like really embrace her, enjoy those moments with her, connect with her again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And here, what I also feel I can bring to you as an invitation is to, when you connect with her on a physical level, right, also connect with her on a spiritual level. Sometimes in this hustle, we forget that they're their own spiritual beings. They have the kind of life experiences that they meant to have. And that's where I bring back to this sort of energy that's flowing to her just for her. You have no right to close it off to her. You have to become that open vessel so that things flow to her, especially from your parents, right? Because that's sort of like, I'm not enough, is closing the faucet for her. When a child comes into life, they bring their resources with them.
Yes.
So they resources, and you are her main caregiver, her resources will be coming to you. Allow yourself to receive them. Anything else you want to commit?
Asking for help, connecting to community, and seeing what doors open from there.
Yeah. The word community came up so much today.
It did.
See where you're closing yourself from seeing that the help is available.
Just opening up my heart to that.
Yeah, that's what I'm feeling. Opening your heart to that you are a daughter of your mother. And you are a little girl. And you have all the right to ask for help. And of your father. Even energetically, even maybe on a mental level, they won't get it right now fully. But I do feel that when you change that state inside, that, okay, it's actually okay if I come to them, not from a place I'm an adult who's not doing her duty, but from, I'm a child, I need your help, guys. And opening your heart, because the children, that's what they are, right? They walk with their heart open. So if you open your heart to them from that perspective, how you feel, it may shift the whole dynamic in the family. We'll end with this note. And you know this, I'm pretty sure, another reminder, what does reparenting mean? Right? Reparenting means to stop doing what the parents used to do to you and do what you would actually need from yourself, to yourself.
Yes.
And they couldn't give you what they didn't have. They couldn't give you a different world perspective. That's what they believe in. That's what their reality. They couldn't give you anything else. But you also have chosen them as your parents. And you also have that sort of like kind of assignment to go through this experience so that you can find wisdom from here and be able to transmute this pain into biggest love. Because your soul is that great. And oftentimes the amount of pain is reflective of the amount of bliss that you're able to receive.
Okay.
So you are that big.